She is notoriously one of the most difficult celebrities to work with. She was one of 6 models of her generation declared supermodels by the fashion industry and the international press, and I think it's safe to say that this got to her head, and she thought that she could behave however she wanted. Back in 1998, Georgina Galanis filed a lawsuit claiming Naomi became physical with her while they were on a work trip in Canada. Amongst the shocking allegations Georgina brought to light, she alleged that Naomi grabbed her by the throat and even hit her with a phone. Along with that, in 2004, her maid claimed to have been slapped in the face. In 2005, her personal assistant alleged Naomi had smacked her around the head with a BlackBerry, while another associate accused her of coming over like Mike Tyson after they wore the same dress to an event. In 2006, she was arrested on suspicion of attacking her drugs counselor, while a former housekeeper sought damages and claimed that she was a violent super bigot. Now in 2007, she was sentenced to community service after assaulting her New York maid, who had required stitches after Naomi beat her around the head with a crystal encrusted phone when she couldn't find a certain pair of jeans. Yeah, that sounds absolutely horrible, and I have no idea why anyone would want to work for her. Then an online user spoke of their experience with Bruce Willis and said this: his movie Hostage was being filmed in several locations of Azusa Canyon. I was a member of a non-profit charity organization that had a sizable gated lot off the base of the canyon, and our location was perfect for many production crews as they could leave all their equipment safely stored overnight. The lot was rented quite often for that purpose. During filming, Mr. Willis would come and go through the lot, where his trailer was also located. Occasionally, a member of the organization would approach him to greet him or ask him for a quick pic, and each and every time without fail, Mr. Willis would stare the person down and quite often say something to them that included his obviously well-rehearsed F-bombs. One instance in particular, I was arriving with one of the senior members of the organization for an early morning meeting. We, after clearing the massive security detail to get into our own lot, parked the car and proceeded to walk towards the entrance of the building. Like any normal human being in a social situation, we wished good morning to the people that we happened to be passing. Honestly, I didn't even realize who it was until he turned his head in our direction and said, "F you." Yikes. On the website Quora, Emily Watford, who worked at the arena where JLo once performed, detailed how her niceness is so fake disgusting. Everything in her room had to be white. She made them close and sanitize the entire child playroom for only her kid or kids, whatever she has. And that isn't too bad. If you got the money to do that, then do it, she said. But Emily added what was bad, that a doorman looked at her and apparently she hates when staff look at her. So she started yelling at whoever about it in front of the doorman like he wasn't there. He said, "So much for Jenny from the block," as she got him fired. Now that's not all though, as according to HuffPost UK, the singer has reportedly banned staff from working on her new home from talking or making eye contact with her. And she allegedly gave these requirements for a new assistant. The person has to be graceful under pressure, have thick skin, and be resourceful in foreign countries. You'll be on call 24/7, you have to change diapers, work on little sleep, and cook if the butler is away. Now, according to several of JLo's former staff members, Jennifer earned herself the nickname Paylow because she paid her staff around 50% less than they could make elsewhere. Now she just treats people like trash and wants to be treated like a queen.
Next up we have Katy Perry. Katy Perry knows what she wants, and it shows in her 45-page rider. Among the things listed on the rider are French lamps, a director's chair with her name on it, a total absence of carnations, and someone whose sole task is to prepare cut up fruits and vegetables. But what stands out as the most extreme provision in the rider is that the singer reportedly doesn't want anybody who works in her staff to say a word to her before a show, especially not the chauffeurs. So, if you got into the service business on the off chance you could one day mingle with Katy Perry, don't get your hopes up. Our next diva celeb is Justin Timberlake. Pop star and actor Justin Timberlake is one of several celebrities who appear to be very conscious about health and germs, as he requires that somebody goes around and disinfects every single doorknob backstage and at any hotels that he stays in every 2 hours. In addition to this, JT is also known to request that he does not have to share the elevator with anybody when on tour or even at a party. Presumably awkwardly so he doesn't have to make any small talk or have an awkward silence. To top it all off, Timberlake also insists that he and his entourage get the entire floor to themselves at hotels while on tour so they can have some wild parties. Justin has been in the tabloids recently for his rude remarks about ex-Britney Spears, who he reportedly cheated on. Timberlake performed a free one-night-only concert on Wednesday, January 31st in New York City to mark his 43rd birthday. In a clip posted to social media, Timberlake took a break from singing at one point in the evening to speak directly to the crowd. "I'd like to take this opportunity to apologize to absolutely effing nobody," he said into the microphone as the band played the musical accompaniment of his Jay-Z collab Holy Grail in the background. One of the most successful female artists of all time, Mariah Carey, is also known to be quite the diva, which is reflected in her long rider. She has previously required an attendant whose only job was to dispose of her gum, and she has also insisted on her dressing room being 75 degrees with a lamp or clip light and 24 white roses, as well as fully stocked crystal champagne complete with bendy straws. Her most famous request, however, is one which we can understand, but logistically must be an absolute nightmare for promoters to arrange. Before going on stage, Mariah wants her dressing room filled with puppies, rabbits, bunnies, and any other soft animal, which she states helps to calm her nerves. In recent years though, Carey has reportedly put her diva days behind her and has a much more modest rider. Beyonce demands her dressing room be kept at 78 degrees and asks for chicken legs, quote, heavily seasoned with cayenne pepper and rose-scented candles, and don't have Coca-Cola products anywhere near Beyonce as she only drinks Pepsi. Here are some of the demands. 1 large table for catering dressed with white tablecloths. 4 brand new white towels in the bathroom, 2 for the face and 2 for the body. Hot food includes juicy baked chicken, legs, wings, and breasts. Please season with fresh garlic, seasoning salt, black pepper, and cayenne pepper. Steamed garlic broccoli, lightly seasoned green beans, lightly seasoned steamed spinach. 1 case of Aquafina water, half cold, half room temperature. 1 hot tea, sliced lemon wedges, rose-scented candles, a lighter for candles, and a CD player. Our next diva superstar is Rihanna. The singer insists on blue or black drapes layered with, quote, icy blue chiffon. Rihanna also needs an animal print throw rug and has a very specific candle request. Here are some of the demands on the rider. 5 AC power outlets, adequate lighting for a, quote, relaxed atmosphere, white drapes to cover lockers and or brick. 1 humidifier, 1 large throw rug, plush and animal print, cheetah or leopard. It must be clean as she will walk on it barefoot. 6 candles, 4 small clear square vases with white tulips, no foliage. Second choice, if you can't get the tulips, white Casablanca lilies. Third choice, if you can't get those, white freesia. When Britney Spears performed in London's the O2 Arena in 2011, she demanded a feast of McDonald's bunless cheeseburgers along with 100 figs and prunes, so she could feel like she was getting the full London experience. She also ordered fish and chips with a framed photo of Princess Diana on the side. Yes, she reportedly ordered a framed photo of Princess Diana to be displayed in her dressing room at the venue. The UK publication The Daily Mirror reports, quote, Britney adores the monarchy. Diana was in many ways her inspiration. Perhaps it's because Britney can relate to the superstar loneliness paradox, that feeling of being famous but also trapped. Britney Spears has even admitted that fame made her feel like she was, quote, living on the edge of a cliff. In the first preview of her memoir, The Woman in Me, the pop star opened up about her early years in the spotlight. I envy people who know how to make fame work. Britney was always saying she just, quote, wanted to be normal, but her level of fame at the time precluded her from any semblance of normality. She felt, in effect, trapped, says her former makeup artist. Our final celebrity is the #1 celeb of the year, Taylor Swift. First, make sure if she's arriving before 11 a.m., you've made a pit stop to Starbucks. Here are some of the demands she requires. If arriving before 11 a.m., the following from Starbucks: 1 grande iced caramel latte with 2 sweeteners, also 1 grande iced Americano with 2 sweeteners, soy milk, and 1 slice of pumpkin loaf, 1 stick of butter, 3 boxes of Kraft mac and cheese, 2 4-pack packs of Red Bull, 1 12-pack of Corona, 1 12-pack of Newcastle beer, 1 bottle of Welch's grape juice, 1 avocado, 1 bag of Twizzlers licorice, 1 case of Smart Water, 1 pint of Ben & Jerry's chocolate chip cookie dough ice cream, 1 pint of Ben & Jerry's chocolate brownie frozen yogurt. Another thing the pop star demanded was that regular tickets for the Eras Tour concert film be priced at $19.89, a cheeky reference to her re-recorded album 1989, Taylor's version. That sounds all too well and good until it's noticed that AMC typically charges an average of $14.89 for an adult ticket, meaning Taylor Swift is demanding her fans pay more than 30% markup price to see her movie, basically to honor an album that they'll likely be buying for the second time.
Harold Ramis was directing the film Groundhog Day and Bill Murray was starring in it, although Bill was not behaving properly. Now Bill was so fed up with the studio and Harold that he would dodge phone calls, be late to shoots, and basically just blew them off. The communication between himself, the studio, and the director was so poor that they suggested Bill get an assistant to deal with all of that. So he hired a personal assistant who was profoundly deaf, did not have oral speech, only spoke American Sign Language, which Bill did not speak, nor did anyone else in the production, Harold told Entertainment Weekly. But Bill said, "Don't worry, I'm going to learn sign language," and I think it was so inconvenient that in a couple weeks he gave that up. That's anti-communication, you know, let's not talk. Yeah, now that's just insane for everyone involved, and that poor assistant, they probably had no idea what was going on. Now we all know in 2022, Amber Heard had a defamation trial with her ex-husband Johnny Depp. As part of that trial, her former assistant Kate James testified, and she worked for Amber from 2012 to 2015. Now in her testimony, she made some pretty shocking allegations about what working for her was really like. Kate claimed in court that Amber would often scream at her and allegedly use illegal substances. She also accused Amber of spitting in her face during her employment, but that was hardly the first time Kate made some dark allegations about her former employer. You see, 2 years earlier, she spoke out against Amber in another trial, this time when Johnny Depp took on the British tabloid The Sun over an op-ed piece Amber had written for the outlet. Now that time, Variety reported that Kate accused Amber of sending her rude and hurtful messages early in the morning on more than one occasion. She also claimed that Amber took her personal story of being an SA survivor and used it as her own. Now Amber had a different version of this story though, as when she took the stand, she spoke out against Kate's allegations and overall character, as she told the court that her former assistant was not easy to work with. Kate's behavior was horrible, she stated. Now, per NBC News, Graham Chase Robinson accused Robert De Niro of allegedly touching her without her permission and making lewd comments while in her presence. Not only that, but Graham said she was asked to do tasks that she wasn't expecting while working for the actor, including household chores and even scratching him on the back. Now, as for what Robert had to say about the allegations, he made it pretty clear he wasn't going to co-sign on his former assistant's take of events, with his lawyers telling Us Weekly, "The allegations made by Graham Chase Robinson against Robert De Niro are beyond absurd." But that wasn't the only drama in this situation, as Graham's allegations came as a part in a countersuit. Robert's Canal Productions had actually filed a lawsuit against Graham that same year, accusing her of not doing her job properly. Now the company alleged that she had a tendency to buy things using her company card, and also supposedly enjoyed watching TV while she was supposed to be working. Now Robert also speculated, per TMZ, that Graham had only made her allegations in retaliation for the initial lawsuit. Now, in recent years, BuzzFeed News spoke to former employees on the Ellen DeGeneres show, all who remained anonymous. They said they were fired after taking medical leave or bereavement days to attend family funerals. One employee, who claims that she was fed up with comments about her race, essentially walked off the job, and honestly, good for her. Others said they were instructed by their direct managers to not speak to Ellen if they saw her around the office. Now most of the former employees blamed executive producers and other senior managers for the day-to-day toxicity, but one former employee said that ultimately it's Ellen's name on the show and she really needs to take more responsibility for the workplace environment. Now if she wants to have her own show and have her name on the show title, she needs to be more involved in what's going on, one former employee said. It's also said that Ellen only appears to be bubbly bubbly and down to earth on camera, but backstage she is demanding and rude to her staff. In fact, the same anonymous source revealed that after hours, staffers get together and talk about Queen Ellen. A few had even quit because of her behavior. And what is Ellen's behavior to her staff, you may ask? Well, apparently she explodes at staffers over the tiniest things. Yeah, Ellen doesn't sound like a fun person to work for. And finally, in 2012, Lady Gaga's assistant Jennifer O'Neill brought a lawsuit against her that claimed that the singer owned her roughly $390,000 for more than 7,000 hours of overtime. During her 13-month stint as the singer's helper, Jennifer said she was expected to be on call 24/7, wake the star up, and even make sure she had a towel waiting after a shower. She added that the two frequently slept in the same bed because Jennifer never had her own hotel room while on tour and was required to address Gaga's needs throughout the night. Now that is just wrong. The Daily Mail also revealed that during a videotaped deposition, Gaga was quoted as saying, "Jennifer is an effing hood rat who is suing me for money that she didn't earn." Yikes.
Next up, we have Van Halen. Throughout the 80s, Van Halen had a provision tucked away in their rider. A rider is a set of requests or demands that a performer sets as criteria for performances. And their rider said that backstage bowls of M&Ms couldn't contain any brown ones. On its face, the request sounds really ridiculous, but as all M&Ms taste the same, regardless of color. However, this request was really a clever ploy devised by lead singer David Lee Roth, who wanted to test how committed the promoter was to details. Before the show, Roth would check the M&M's bowl, and if there weren't any brown ones, he'd know it was safe to go on stage. But seeing brown M&Ms was a warning sign there may be unexpected trouble. Next up, we have Madonna. It should come as no surprise to anybody who's a fan of Madonna that she has extravagant taste when she goes on tour. According to In Touch Weekly, the pop diva wants to be surrounded by an entourage composed of 200 people. She wants 30 bodyguards to look over her for protection and personal chefs to make vegan food exclusively. If that already doesn't seem like too much, furniture is even moved from Madonna's house to her dressing room so she can feel more at home. Wow. Speaking of Madonna on tour, Madonna has recently been in the news. Two New York City men sued the pop star for starting a show for her celebration tour roughly 2 hours later than the time listed on the tickets. In early January of this year, Michael Fellows and Jonathan Hayden accused Madonna, Live Nation, and the area venue of, quote, unconscionable, unfair, and deceptive trade practices by listing 8:30 p.m. as the start time. The pair also took issue with the show reportedly ending around 1 a.m., which allegedly posed a greater problem for them as they, quote, had to get up early to go to work and take care of their family the next day. Madonna was criticized on social media and by other celebrities following news of the lawsuit, with the ladies of The View talk show taking aim at the singer-songwriter amid the legal development. I personally wouldn't wait 2 hours to get a hot oil massage from George Clooney, much less a concert by anybody, Joy Behar said, while Sarah Haynes added that it was disrespectful to Madonna's fans.
Now, Taylor loves to hide in random places and have her team push her around. In 2017, she was hiding from the public due to her Kanye and Kim feud. Now, she didn't want people seeing her, and her fans speculated that she was hiding in a black suitcase that was always seen around her building, even though Taylor herself was never spotted. Then, in an interview with British Vogue, Zayn Malik seemed to confirm the long-standing rumor that Taylor actually does sometimes travel inside a giant suitcase. When asked about his relationship with Taylor and her ability to avoid paparazzi, his eyes went wide. She was traveling around in a suitcase, he revealed. Not to mention, one of her neighbors confirmed it to a gossip blog as well. Now, it appears that for her Eras tour, she's hiding in a janitor's cart so fans don't see her backstage. Fans who attended her concert in Arlington, Texas had finally caught her in the act. Now, prior to the show, fans noticed a large janitor's cart was being rolled towards the stage each night before the concert began, and they speculated that Taylor may have been hiding inside. Now, my question is, are these things made to order for her? What else has she hidden? I guess we'll just have to wait and see. be. Next up is her green room. Showbiz reporter Dean McCarthy has said that in Taylor's green rooms, she needs an iced Americano from Starbucks delivered to her room at 11 a.m. Dean went on to say when she first started in the industry, she only wanted snacks in her dressing room. She used to just have edamame, beans, and some water and some snacks. But the Los Angeles-based reporter said as Taylor has become more popular, so have her demands while touring. Now she's gone to another level, he said. There's Red Bull, the energy drink, macaroni and cheese, and by 11 a.m. every single day of her tour, she has to have her Starbucks iced Americano delivered to her room. But hey, I think this could be way crazier. Then there's I can use my private jet. In the summer of 2022, Taylor was one of several celebrities who were called out for their private jet usage, which can contribute to an excess of CO2 emissions and harm the environment. Now, a study from the marketing firm Yard named Taylor as the #1 offender, alleging in a report Taylor's shortest recorded flight of 2022 was just 36 minutes, flying from Missouri to Nashville. Now, she was accused of polluting the earth by flying her private jet 170 times between January 1st and July 29th. Now, the research gathered by Yard shows results for which celebrities are the worst private jet CO2 emission offenders, with Taylor racking up more than 22,000 minutes in the air, or the equivalent of 16 days. Now, a spokesperson for Taylor issued a statement at the time noting, Taylor's jet is loaned out regularly to other individuals. To attribute most or all these trips to her is incorrect. Now, why even have a private jet though if you don't use it? Moving on to dating rules. We all know that Taylor and Travis Kelce have been dating for a while now, and it's been said that Taylor has set some crazy rules for him. Friends claim that Taylor has asked Travis to FaceTime her, not just text, when they're apart, with a source noting that she didn't overtly say it, but she secretly wants to see where he is and who he's with. Taylor's a good judge of character and fears that some of his buddies are red flags. And it seems like Taylor just wants him to make good choices. It doesn't seem like she's trying to be so controlling. But this isn't all though. It's also been reported that additional rules for Travis include not going to strip clubs and getting pictures clicked with female fans. Now, this rule is to avoid any misleading dating rumors, but it appears the Chiefs star broke this rule when he went to a club with Patrick Mahomes as he continued his Super Bowl celebration. He visited a club in Las Vegas on February 23rd, and according to Daily Mail, Travis was spotted surrounded by women and was seen speaking to some of them as they partied together.
At number 10, we have 7 limousines. Starting off strong with her gigantic and expensive entourage to walk 3 city blocks. Apparently, she was staying at the Metropolitan when she decided to walk to the Dorchester restaurant, which was 3 blocks away. Instead of having her personalized bodyguards or a small group of people to keep her safe, she insisted she hire 7 limos so she could travel the 200 yards from point A to point B without being bothered. Afterwards, she claimed that exercise and working out is something that makes her the happiest in life. Like, walking 200 yards with a full entourage is truly exercising. The entire situation is so bizarre and out of touch, you can't help but recognize it as diva behavior. At number 9, we have how she got someone fired for asking for an autograph. A hotel maid asked her for an autograph, which is totally respectable, because she's literally Jennifer Lopez. But it was how she responded that made her such a diva. When the maid asked her very politely for an autograph, nothing came of it. But a day later, the maid received a phone call from the cleaning company she was employed with to let her know that Jen complained about it, and she was fired from that point on. What makes the situation worse is that the hotel tried to deny it happening to maintain its image. Not only is it shady, but the maid risked it all for little reward. Who would think that Jenny from the block would be such a princess about a fan? At number 8, we have the diamond-encrusted headphones. It makes sense to have sound-canceling headphones with you, especially when you have sensitive ears. But when they're entirely diamond-encrusted and worth almost $6,000, it's too much. One of the more infamous moments she wore the headphones was when she was showing up to the World Music Awards on her personal speedboat. And it wasn't just personalized to her, it was completely custom made, with custom love seats that were faux leather and champagne coolers. But because the boat on the water was just too loud, she had the noise-canceling headphones. And like I mentioned before, they were entirely diamond encrusted. Like regular headphones just weren't enough. At number 7, we have how she won't respond to her flight attendants. She has her own private jet with her own personal flight attendants, and she wouldn't even make conversation with them. It was in 2012 when she was in hot water for it because one of her flight attendants came forward saying that she was ghosting her. The attendant in question came up to her and a few of her guests and asked if she wanted anything to drink. Jen looked at her, turned her head away from her, and told her personal assistant to tell the attendant that she would like a Diet Coke with a lime. Obviously, this is jaw-dropping behavior for anyone, even if it is on par for Jen. At number 6, we have $20 million to be a judge. While she was one of the hosts on American Idol, she was charging $20 million a season. And to add to it, she even bought out Simon Cowell for $12 million so she could replace him. And to prove how much of a diva she really is, her appearance alone rejuvenated the show, so they were willing to cough up the big bucks just to keep her. She wouldn't just judge people on their talent though, she would often judge people on how they smelled. But according to her, at least she didn't judge people on how they looked. Like that's any better.
Now let's talk about Credit Me. In April 2016, when Taylor was still dating Calvin Harris, he released his iconic collab with Rihanna, This Is What You Came For. Now it's a great song, but it didn't take long for some Swifties to notice that there's one particular ooh 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 in the background that sounds a lot like Taylor. Now some of the fans were called crazy for this, but then a couple months later, it turned out that they were right. Which leads us to the identity of Nils Schaborg. Now Taylor didn't just provide backing vocals for the song, she actually helped Calvin write it. It was a big mess when the news was revealed, as it was just after their breakup, and Calvin actually denied that Taylor helped. There was a co-writer listed on the song credits called Nils Schaborg, and no one had ever heard of him, so Swifties just assumed that was Taylor's fake name for the track. Now, of course, they were right, which she confirmed by putting the name on a gravestone in the video for Look What You Made Me Do. She later told Paul McCartney in a conversation for Rolling Stone, "I wrote under the name Nils Schaborg because those are the two most popular names of Swedish males." So, there you have it. Then there's change your style. Something else that Taylor seems to have an issue with Travis is his wardrobe. And I mean, I can't blame her. I've seen some pics of clothes he's worn in the past and they are just straight up ugly. Though she admits she's no fashionista, Taylor splashed out $500,000 to help Travis dress better, alleges a source, pointing out that the singer's own Super Bowl look alone cost over $60K. Taylor says she's not changing him, it's an evolution. Hey, if Taylor's willing to splash out the cash for this new look, why not embrace it? Now the source said the bottom line is that she feels they could really be endgame, she doesn't want to control him, just help. He's under a microscope now, more than ever, noting the headline-making athlete currently appeared in commercials. Now Taylor's on tour and she sings 40+ songs and performs for over 3 hours a night. Now her shows are intense and you need to prepare for that. Taylor revealed her exercise routine and it is crazy. The tour required intense physical, mental, and emotional requirements, and Taylor told Time in an interview for 2023 Person of the Year that she wanted to subvert the fans to repay them for the effort they put in to attend her career retrospective concert. Taylor began getting into shape for the Eras Tour 6 months before her tour kicked off in March in Glendale, Arizona. Now her training regimen included running on the treadmill every day while singing the entire Eras setlist aloud, fast for fast songs, and jog or fast walk for slow songs, following a specialized strength, conditioning, and weights program at her gym, and doing 3 months of dance lessons. Before the show started, Taylor says she and her team camped out in the Glendale Stadium. "We actually got to be in the stadium for almost a month, running the show several times a week," she said, so that was extremely helpful. Now unlike on her previous tours, during which Taylor said she behaved like a frat guy, she stopped drinking alcohol to prepare more rigorously. "I was really disciplined about drinking," she said. "I stopped drinking for a couple of months before the show, except for on Grammy night, which was hilarious. I gave myself a fun night for that one." She then kept up that practice throughout the tour's run. Doing that show with a hangover, she said, "I do not want to know that world." And hey, I don't blame her. Now we have Stop Tracking My Private Jet. In late December, Taylor's team hit up Jack Sweeney, a junior studying information technology at the University of Central Florida. In the letter, attorneys from the law firm Venable accused Jack of effectively providing individuals intent on harming her with nefarious or violent intentions a roadmap to carry out their plans. Now, Jack provided the link to that letter in an email to the Associated Press, and in that message he emphasized that while he never intended to cause harm, he also believes strongly in the importance of transparency and public information. One should reasonably expect that their jet will be tracked, whether or not I'm the one doing it, as it is public information after all, he wrote. Now, a spokesperson for Taylor echoed the legal complaint, saying that the timing of the stalkers suggest a connection to Jack's flight tracking sites. Now, the problem was that he was updating in real time, which could put Taylor in danger, and her team wanted it to stop. She has had some very scary run-ins with stalkers, so I don't blame her for not wanting her live location updated all the time. Up next is Don't Ask Me About Karlie Kloss. In 2014, Taylor and her BFF Karlie Kloss were seen kissing at the 1975 show back in December. And Taylor's response to this, she tweeted about the gossip saying, "As my 25th birthday present from the media, I'd like you to stop accusing all my friends of dating me. #thirsty." Hey, you can kiss someone without dating them, but the idea of Taylor and Karlie being in a relationship was then born. They even have a ship name, Taylor. Now, there's a side of the Taylor Swift fandom that believes that Taylor is secretly gay and that she's dated many women and left Easter eggs about these relationships in her music, but hey, she just wants you to stop accusing her of dating her friends, regardless of gender. And finally, there's Don't Hurt My Fans. A lot has happened at the Eras tour, but while performing in Philadelphia in May 2023, fans were shocked to see something that's never happened before. In a viral video, Taylor is mid-performance of her hit song Bad Blood when she notices something in the crowd that catches her attention. It appears that security were scolding a fan in the front row, and upon seeing this, Taylor took it upon herself to intervene. Noticing that the fan hadn't done anything wrong, Taylor said between lyrics, "She's fine," while motioning at security. Continuing to flawlessly perform the song, Taylor then shouted she wasn't doing anything to the security guard in question before starting to walk to a different part of the stage. However, the guard either didn't realize that she was talking to him or didn't care, and when Taylor noticed that they were still bothering the fan, she turned back and yelled, "Hey, stop." Needless to say, the star was widely praised for standing up for her fans. Don't mess with Swifties, especially in front of Taylor. Well,
at number 5, we have how the construction crew was not allowed to make eye contact with her. It makes sense when one person's staring too aggressively or with weird intentions. But when it's a huge group of people, it's a little excessive, even for diva behavior. She'd hired a crew to refurbish her mansion home, and if she was around them, they were not allowed to make eye contact with her, and they weren't allowed to speak to her at all either. But that's not all. A lot of her previous helpers said the same thing, like her drivers and other caretakers. She actually ended up selling that home for $27 million and bought a new one the same year for $40 million. At number 4, we have how she wouldn't shoot a commercial where she grew up. We know from her song Jenny from the Block that she grew up rough, and she makes it a point to share her story of triumph and overcoming the odds. But when she refused to film in the Bronx, people were taken aback. She makes it a point to seem like she still has strong connections to her roots there, but refuses to film there. It could definitely be for her own safety, but if she was so deeply connected, you would think she'd want to go back. She was actually filming a Fiat commercial, and they wanted to tap into that part of her, but she would only film in LA, and they required a body double to film the scenes that were in the Bronx. I suppose no matter how deep your roots go, fame overcomes that. At number 3, we have her very specific food demands. We know that the diva makes very specific demands, and that doesn't stop when it comes to food or drink. When she was touring back in 2010, she required a completely white room with top to bottom furniture and everything all in white. She also required no catering in the actual room aside from the drinks, which included, but were not limited to, room temperature refrigerated Gatorade, Coca-Cola regular and diet, a lemon wedge with Smart Water specifically, fruit punch, and plain M&Ms. If they weren't plain, she'd freak out. Also, if she was going to receive a piece of apple pie, it had to be a la mode, or else she'd flip her lid as well. As if it wasn't hard enough to keep her happy, any food catering was to be left outside the door by the person bringing it. Another insane food demand occurs is that when she orders breakfast at a hotel, it needs to be piping hot no matter when she arrives or when it arrives to her room. And if it's not, she'll throw a fit. But it's not just a regular order either. It's scrambled eggs, bacon, pancakes, and the rest of the 9 yards. At number 2, we have her specific relationship requests. If you want to be with her, you've got to jump through hoops to prove you're worth the position. When she was still with Alex Rodriguez, she claimed she really loved his physique, but if he ever lost it or let himself go, she wouldn't be able to stay with him because that was a deal breaker, and she wouldn't marry him if it wasn't a guarantee that he would remain his shape. And that's not all. She also said that if they were going to be together, he was banned from speaking to any woman under the age of 40, in case he tried to get any ideas. She was 49 at that time, and him having a conversation with someone younger than her made her jealous and uncomfortable. And last but not least, at number 1, we have how she claims she isn't a diva. You know you've become fully out of touch when you do everything on this list and still claim you aren't a diva. She says she doesn't deserve the title of being a diva because she doesn't feel like she is, which makes next to no sense. But her support for that claim is that she worked very hard to get where she is and that she's still a hardworking person, because a hardworking person absolutely can't be a diva, with her private jet and her 7 limos and her diamond-encrusted headphones. Getting somewhere big in life when you come from nothing is a big deal, and it's really inspiring to young and upcoming artists. But when you've become that desensitized to your lavish lifestyle, maybe it's time to do some proper soul searching.